actual should conform to the ideal. The present life should be made to coincide with life eternal. The ideal of religion, according to Vedanta, must cover the whole field of life and must enter into our thoughts and find expression in all our actions. It is to indicate this extreme practicality of our spiritual knowledge of Vedanta that many of the Upanishadic discourses are put in the mouths of ruling monarchs and not merely of those of priests. The great Vedantic text, the Bhagavad Gita, was delivered in the field of battle by Sri Krishna to Arjuna. Therefore, the Vedanta is not only a high ideal, but it can be put into practice. In fact, it should be whatever spiritual knowledge must be put into practice without any compromise. That's what Swami used to say. The essence of Vedanta is the assertion of the divinity of man. The spirit in man is always pure and perfect. It is eternal. The Vedanta teaches men to have faith in themselves for the possession of this divinity. It is essential teaching, according to Swami Vivekananda's words. Each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest this divinity within by controlling nature, external and internal. Do this either by work or worship or psychic control or philosophy, by one or more or all of this, and be free. This is the whole of religion. Now, Swami Vivekananda tells us these doctrines, dogmas, rituals, books, temples, or forums, they are all secondary details. The new approach not only declares that a human individual is essentially divine, but also has daring faith. We should have daring faith in that divinity. Practical Vedanta is not just a philosophy, but it is a guideline for robust living, for being divine, and also fully human. The central ideal of Vedanta is oneness. According to Swamiji, there are no two in anything. There are no two lives. There is but one life, one world, one existence. Everything is that one. The difference is in degree and not in kind. It is the same life that pulsates through all beings, from Brahma to human beings, to animals, to amoeba. The difference is only in the degree of manifestation. So, it is very important as spiritual aspirants, we should not look down with contempt on others, but we should respect them. According to Swamiji, Vedanta has to be carried out into our everyday life, in the city life, in the country life, in the office life, in national life, in the home life. A religion that cannot be put into practice, that cannot help man wherever he may be, is not of much use and value. As per Swamiji, religion, according to Swami Vivekananda, must provide men with strength and inspiration in all situations of life. The Vedantic teaching of faith in oneself is passed on the idea of one's inherent divinity. This faith is the best means for generating strength and inspiration. And to Upanishadic teachers also followed the practical method of teaching. The early thinkers were practical first and philosophical next. The truth was not an intellectual theory, but a lesson learned through every aspect of nature. This is one of the most important aspects of practical Vedanta. The theme of Vedanta is to see the Lord in everything, to perceive things in their real nature. In the Vedanta, a distinction is made between heaven and salvation. As per Swamiji, all heavens are transitory. The attainment of salvation is also not possible for those who are in Brahmaloka without knowledge. Persons who have realized the impersonal absolute need not worry about their destinies. They need not go anywhere. They, recognizing their oneness with the impersonal God, and they will not care whether they go to hell or heaven. This impersonal God is a living God. According to Vedanta, the living God is within you. The only God to be worshipped is the human soul, God who is in the human body. This impersonal conception will destroy the narrow and limited ideas of our mind. Universal love can spring in the heart only when we see the whole universe as one being, and that each oneself is involved in the self of all. I repeat this, it's very difficult to understand, but you had universal love can spring in the heart of only when we see the whole universe as one thing, and that each oneself is also involved, the self of all. And when we realize it, then you are free from limitations of karma and the bondage of nature. The Vedanta admits there are no two entities, only one exists. Only one entity is experienced at a time as changeless substratum or as changing attributes. It is illustrated with the help of the analogy of a rope and a snake. The rope stands for spirit or changeless, and the snake for the body or change. When the snake is seen, the rope would have vanished. And when the rope is seen, the snake would have vanished. Applying this to ourselves, when we come to realize ourselves as spirit, the body would have vanished. And when we are with the body consciousness, we are aware of the body only. This shows that whatever exists in one and that is appearing as there in various forms. Vedanta asks us to find God in oneself and worship the God. What is more practical than this? God is not a being very far off. He is the self in you. It is through this self that you know everything. It's through this self that you know anything. Sorry. According to Swamiji, without knowing HIMH capital, we can neither live or move. We cannot breathe. Give a second. Is it not preaching a practical God? We see the God inside me, outside me, before me, behind me, as God omnipresent in every being and in everything. We are to worship God in all men, in all women, in the young and the old, in the sinner as well as the saint, in the Brahmin and in the Pariah, in the poor, the sick, the ignorant, the destitute, and the downtrodden. Everyone have God only. According to Vedanta, serve them, worship them, and that will be serving and worshipping the living God. He who sees Shiva in the poor, in the weak, and in the diseased really worships Shiva. And if he sees Shiva only in the image or in temple, his worship is just preliminary. You are really serve them, not help them. Another important practical side of Swamiji's Neo Vedanta is acceptance, not merely tolerance, of all other forms of worship. We should see others with eyes of love, with sympathy. The Advaita of Swami Vivekananda not only tolerates but accepts and respects other religions as good as different paths that lead to the same goal, God. The practice of Vedanta is usually called yoga, a general name for the practical techniques by which the theoretical knowledge of the philosophy is realized. It helps to realize the immortality of the soul. The word yoga is normally associated with two kinds of meaning. It may mean union or a kind of discipline. Vivekananda incorporated both these meanings in his sense of the word yoga. Thus, the path leading to the realization is the path of discipline and union. The new Vedanta regards the four Vedas, four yogas, the path of Gnana, path of devotion, Karma, and Raja. Raja Yoga. Raja Yoga's aim is realization of the unity with God. It teaches the concentration of the mind. This concentration alone can help him to gain knowledge and mastery of anything. Swami Vivekananda says that this method is not for the weak because it requires an immense faith in oneself. And it also requires physical and mental strength. The faith in oneself and the psychological strength gradually enables the yogi to practice complete concentration, leading to the realization of unity with the divine. It is the way to the realization of immortality. Then comes Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga teaches man to be unattached and work for the sake of work. Karma Yogi works because it is his nature to work. He has no object beyond work. His position in this world is that of a giver. Karma Yogi never cares to receive anything in return. According to Swami, continuous, selfless work enables a man to rise above himself and to have a feeling of oneness with everything. Through selfless work, one's mind becomes pure and he is able to identify himself with all. This is the realization of immortality. Next comes Bhakti Yoga. The path of devotion to God for realization is called Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is the path of systematized devotion for the attainment of union with the Absolute. Bhakti Yoga requires real, genuine, and ceaseless love towards God to achieve the supreme identity. This is the way of knowing God. The intensity of feeling strong emotions have the capacity to awaken and activate the potentials powers of man. Then comes Gnana Yoga. Gnana Yoga, the way of knowledge, is based on the realization that bondage is due to ignorance. Ignorance is the inability to distinguish between the real and the unreal. This lack of discrimination is ignorance. Therefore, knowledge has to be discriminatory. Knowledge must have an awareness of the distinction between the real and the unreal. Gnana Yoga is the path of self-realization through discrimination. According to Swami Vivekananda, renunciation is a necessary stage in the practice of Gnana Yoga. Renunciation helps the Gnana Yogi to meditate upon the true self, true nature of self. After the renunciation, concentration can be practiced in course of time. This concentration will become more intense. In this stage, the individual may attain the stage of complete concentration or samadhi. If the individual is in samadhi, he knows no distinction between the self and the Brahman, and he will have realized oneness with Brahman. So, this is in short, which I thought share with you. So, Haribo. The 5 minutes is there left, I think. I'll spend time in chanting Ram Nam, and last 1 or 2 minutes we will remain in silent meditation, remembering whatever I have read out in this article, contemplating. Jai Jai Ram.